I believe that by the end of this session, you walk away not just with answers to your questions, but with clarity, confidence, and a deeper understanding of what it takes to thrive at the Ghana School of Law and beyond. Once again, thank you very much for being here this evening. And I believe that as we dive into the conversation, you will take full advantage of the knowledge and experiences that will be shared. Thank you very much. And once again, you are welcome. Now, before I introduce the speakers for tonight, I'd want to briefly state that we'll have three speakers having their presentations. And as they present, if you have any questions, please type them out in the chat. And when it's time for the question and answer session, we would gladly take them one after the other. Thank you very much and enjoy the session. So for our first speaker for tonight, he is a lawyer and currently an LLM candidate at the Yale Law School. And prior to being at Yale, he practiced with AB Lexmal and Associates, focusing on the intersection of business, energy, and human rights law. He is an alumni of the KNUST Faculty of Law, graduating with a first class and also being the valedictorian of his class, that's the 2022-year group. While at the law school, he was adjudged the best student in civil procedure and also the overall best student. That is the MCSark awardee for the 2024 call to the bar. Respectfully and humbly, I welcome Mr. Martin Wana-Ang. Counsel, respectfully, I hand over the microphone to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Esther, for that powerful introduction. I must say that you gave me a bit of pressure with the introduction, but that's okay. Yeah, so a very good evening to everyone who is here. I'm very glad to be part of this program and to share my insights or perspectives on what you need to do to successfully come out of the law school and then also excel in your career. So thank you to MCSark Legal Network for organizing the presentation or conversation, and also to my esteemed panel members, and also thank you to the Deputy Attorney General for gracing this program. I'm delighted to speak to you all, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you'd have. So tonight, my presentation basically is to discuss the unfiltered reality of law school, and the reality is often less about a single courtroom victory of being a lawyer or something of that sort. But beyond that, we are looking at the 1,000 times of quiet discipline decisions that you need to make every single day to bring you to that level. And so I'm going to look at or present to you strategies that you can adopt or what you need to do to better manage your time, and also managing that alongside the academic journey and then the compulsory internship. Yeah, so first I'm going to address the issue of time management. For a legal professional, you must note that time is not just a resource to be managed. Time is a fundamental tool which your entire career will be would be built upon, right? So, in other words, your capacity to reason, to write, and to advocate is meaningless if you cannot command the time in which you to do it. And so the first thing is that you need to understand that the legal profession, everything about it, or to be successful, you need to know how to better manage your time. And you can be academically excellent, but if you don't know how to manage your time properly to distinguish high value tasks or important tasks from other tasks that are not important, then you may be in for a doom at the end of the day in your legal journey. So you need to take that into account. Then, so the first thing is that you need to stop trying to find time. Time is not lost. It must be what deliberately and strategically allocated. So oftentimes we hear people saying that I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to read all the cases and all that. But it's really about you being able to deliberately and strategically allocate the time. So when you get into law school, the point is that you must first of all have a clear vision of what you intend to achieve at the end of the day. Just like you having long-term career goals or long-term professional plans, you also need to carve out like a plan for maybe the semester or the entire academic year, particularly for law school, since it is not semester based. You take some breaks at a point, you study for the entire academic year, then you go and write the exams at the end of the period. So you need to like articulate a clear vision. What is it that you intend to achieve at the end of the day? And to make sure that you write it down. It shouldn't just be a mental statement. Once you make it plain and then you write it down, then it will then serve as like a
Hello,
springboard.
Council.
Yeah.
Good evening. Please,
Yes.
your voice is far from the mic.
Okay. Yeah. So let me take off my earpiece and then. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I hope you can hear me clearly now. Yeah, so I was saying that you should make sure that you have a clear vision of what you want to achieve at the end of the day after the uh, period that you are in the law school, and then make that particular vision plain. And that vision would then serve as like a springboard for you to make your scheduling plans or to block your calendar for every single day that you are in the law school, of the things that you need to do or the activities that you need to engage in. Now, when I talk about a vision, one of the visions could be that, well, since the law school is 2 years, you don't want to spend more than 2 years in the law school. Once you enter, you should have the plan that come what may, I want to leave that institution by the 2 year period. I don't want to spend more than that. Then if you want to leave the law school in 2 years, what then do you need to do? Okay, in part one, then it means that you don't need to have any papers that you need to rewrite, or you don't need to you don't have to fail beyond a certain number, so that you don't have to repeat and then have to resit the whole year again. So that's what I mean by like articulating a clear plan or vision, you know. Yeah, so don't go in there and then you are just happy that you are in the law school, and you are happy that every day you go to class and you don't know what you're about. Then you wait when it is time for exams, then you go and write. No, that shouldn't be the case. Yeah, so that's the first thing, right? So having done that, you then proceed to like make sure that you try to block your calendar, or maybe have a clear set of daily and weekly goals that you may want to achieve at the end of so that you can assess it maybe every 2 weeks or every quarter, depending on how you want to go about it. But then just have like before you once you set out the vision, then you identify what tools or resources do I need to achieve this. Then having done that, you make sure that you then deliberately allocate the time for each of the things that you need to do to achieve the goals that you have set out for yourself. So speaking for myself, like when I went to the law school, okay, I had a particular plan. I want to get out of the law school in 2 years. These are the things that I need to do. So once the academic year started, I quickly have like a timetable that I follow. I have like a schedule of okay, the academic year is 9 months or 8 months. I want to make sure that by the 6 or 7 months, I'm done with all the syllables. Then I have 2 months to do an intensive revision before the exams. And then having devised that plan, then how do I make sure that I finish the syllables within the 6 months window that I have given myself? Then, okay, every single day I have a specific number of maybe topics that I need to read before the end of the day, and then you then make sure that you block your calendar for that. Now, this applies irrespective of whether you are working and schooling or not. I even if, for example, you are going to work um from 8 to 5. Now, I always say that you can arrange the time in such a way that you um it's either you block your time early morning between 3 to 5, and then after you close from work between 5 and then maybe 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. Then you find spots within that period that you're going to use to study. And irrespective of the fact that you may be tired and then all that, you just have to be disciplined to be able to do that. Once you have made up your mind that you want to achieve this goal by the end of the 2 year period in law school. So that's the first thing. Then secondly, I would say that you should adopt like a billable mindset and continually ask the question, like, what is the valuable use of your time at every particular moment, right? There are so many of us that every day we are just walking about. We don't really know what you are doing at a particular time. You'll be there, okay, you're supposed to be doing something. You have assignments to do, you have readings to do, you have projects to work on. Then someone would come with maybe their work or they'll say that, okay, let's go out, and then you just get up and follow. And it means that you don't um know the valuable use of your time at every moment. And to be able to do this, you always imagine that in legal practice, every single time is like assessed, like you are working based on billable hours. And so if you translate the same thing to your intellectual development, that time is extremely limited. And so you have a certain time constraint within which to do a hefty amount of reading. Then you need to make sure that at every particular point in time, whatever that you are doing, time is allocated for it. Of course, there can be room for flexibility and then unforeseen eventualities and then all that. But you should like make it plain that okay, this is what you want to do at this time or from this time to this time and then all that. And in doing that, you can adapt the Eisenhower matrix where you try to, for example, identify which task is urgent and important and you need to attend to. That can include like the cases that you have to read before the next class, the assignments that you have to do before the next class, so that you block your time and make sure that you do that before you attend to any other thing. Because when you have so many things that you have to do, you cannot get all done at the same time. But it is easier if you block the time. So you say that, okay, for between maybe 7 p.m. to 9 or 10 p.m., I'm working on reading maybe these number of cases in this course, or I'm going to use it to read these chapters. And then you make sure that during that period, that is what you are doing. You're not doing any other thing that will distract you. And then you do that. Yeah. Then you also have you also I sift through like what are the other things that you need to do that are important but they are not urgent. Maybe, for example, having set the timeline that within 6 months you need to finish your academic or you need to finish all the syllable. Then there are some topics that you don't necessarily need to read instantly because you can schedule time for those ones. So you make sure that you make the preparations or the plans for that and then you schedule the time for those ones in the future. Then you also have the tasks that are urgent but they are not important, like those ones that people will come and then they'll tell you, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Now you need to it is not a bad thing to help people, but you have to be sure that that aligns with your priorities. And then the one of the uh, key to success is also being able to say no to people who are detractors or who would detract you or distract you from focusing on things that you have to do. You can always accept to help if you it will allow you the space to make time for it. But if it comes at a time that conflicts with something important that you are doing, then you should be sure to finish with what you are doing. Then you attend to the other or those other requests. And it can come in so many forms, like going out for parties and then maybe responding to emails and then a host of other examples. Then you also have other things that are neither important or urgent, like you are proceeding under the maybe the illusion that, oh, having studied to this number of time, I need to scroll through social media, and then by the time you realize you're on social media for the next 2 hours and you are just scrolling. So social media um is one of the things that may not be necessarily important or urgent, but I mean you can use it where they need be to release stress. though there are other ways that you can also use to relieve stress. So the point is avoiding distraction as much as possible and then blocking your time. And to be able to do this effectively, for me, I make sure that like before I go to bed, I would input that all the things that I have to do within the 24-hour period that I have in the calendar, so that um when once I wake up, I know that okay, from this time to this time, this is what I'm supposed to do. From this time to this time, this is what you're supposed to do. It is always better to have it that way than to make a mental note. You can easily forget if you say that okay, I'm going to have it in my mind that this is what I'm supposed to do. You can easily forget, or because you don't have it on your calendar, you can easily see that, oh, let me just forgo that. But if it's on your calendar and it keeps on reminding you, you may be compelled to um go ahead and then do what you have already planned. And I mean, we also have to be realistic that sometimes you can do all these plans, but if you are not extremely disciplined or committed, you'll still not be able to follow it through. So it's not just about putting it there, but the ability to execute. And that's where I then move to the third point, which is that you have to execute with precision by whatever plans that you have put out there. Don't put it there, and then when the time for execution comes, you are dragging your feet or you are not up to the task of execution. So for example, it would be difficult to follow, but like once you are going into the professional life of legal practice, I can assure you that to one if you want to be successful, then the first thing is being able to what manage your time properly. And to be able to execute it, like I said, you need to have that stamina of discipline and consistency to carry it out. And it will not come cheap or easy, but you'll be able to do it. So, for example, for me, when I was in the law school, at that same time, I was doing like my national service. And so, like, you go to school 2 days, and then the rest of the days you are going to work. Now, how then did I manage to still execute whatever that I had to do? So I made sure that I gave myself a certain time limit that I would sleep every night. I mean, it's not extremely convenient, but I had to do that within that time frame or within that period that I was in the law school. So you can see that okay, I'm not going to sleep beyond 5 hours or 4 hours. And then if even if you like sleeping, it's something that you just have to force yourself to do. Make people check up on you, have accountability partners so that they can ensure that you are consistent with that. So say that okay, every night I'll go to bed at 10 p.m. and then by 2 a.m. I'm awake. From 2 to 5 I am I have something that I'm working on. Maybe from 5, then I'm preparing to go to class or I'm preparing to go to the office. Then once I close from 5 to 10 p.m., there are other activities that I'll do within that period. So I know that these are the things that I have to do to be able to um, achieve the vision or the goal that I've set for myself. Then your weekends too, you make sure that you break it down, the things to incorporate things that you have to do. Maybe if there are some places that you don't necessarily have to go, then you don't have to go. You know that you have to lock that time to catch up for whatever that you are supposed to do. So it's really, really important. Yeah, so execution comes with what discipline and consistency, and you having an accountability partner to help you like check up to see if you're actually executing the plans that you have created for yourself. Yeah, so you have to um take that into account. Yeah, so these are the three main strategies that I think if you apply them carefully and properly, you'll be able to manage your time properly in the law school. Now, there will always be other competing interests like going for having social events and then um taking time off with friends and then all that. Yeah, that's um what I have presented to you is not to say that you shouldn't make time for um relaxation, having fun and then all that. You just have to make sure that if you are going for those events, you have made time for it. So, for example, like for me, I went for all the law school, almost all the events like the Aquaba nights and then the SLC week and I know that. But before I went there, I made sure that maybe all the readings that I had to do, I did that before I went there. So the point is for you to be efficient, right? Try to be efficient. So even though you are doing all these things, you are not lagging behind on the most important things that you need to do to excel at the law school. And in making your plans, always try to be ahead in whatever that you do in terms of like your studies. For me, one of the commitments I made was that I have to know, come what may, like I have to always stay ahead of like whatever that we are studying in class so that it will give me the advantage. So once I have read something and I go to the class and then the lecturer talks about it, then it gives me an added advantage. It clarifies maybe certain doubts that I may have had before the class. But I n- normally do not want to go and sit for the lecturer to teach. Then I'll now go back and read. So that's something that also worked for me. So I make sure that I read the topics ahead and then try to make that sketch some notes. Then once I go, if there are any holes in the notes, then I'll just input that in. And that helps because you'd realize that at the law school, sometimes some of the lecturers may delay in completing the syllabus and then they'll only complete it maybe few weeks to time, or sorry, to exams, and then you'd have to rush to cram all those things that they've taught you in a few weeks. But if you always stay ahead, by the time you get to certain topics, you have already covered it, and maybe you are even doing your revision on it. So that's um, something that you need to take into account. And don't always be under the assumption that you only need to study when you have exams to write. You may pass the exams, you may be called to the bar, but your understanding of the law will be porous, and then that will expose you in practice. The You are being trained to for a lifelong journey or a professional journey. So your studies should be tailored towards giving you a knowledge or acquiring knowledge that would last forever, and not something that you chew and then you write the exams, you pass, and then when you go to the firm and then they give you a brief, you cannot you don't know the head and tail, you don't even know where to start from. Yeah, so make sure that you are intentional about your studies and then you are studying to acquire knowledge that would last forever. And that means that if they give you cases to read, be deliberate to read the full case. I mean, there are some times that you may be pressed for time and you may not be able to read everything, but reading briefs is highly discouraged. Sometimes you miss the nuance of the discussion that is happening. For me, in particular, sometimes I would even go and look for extra uh, material or cases most that are most recently decided on the point to see how the current trend on that particular point that is being discussed in the class and read it. And so if you can do that too, that is fine. So and the next phase, which is the academic life and then the compulsory internship. The internship was introduced, I think, last 2 years when we were in the law school, and now you go to school for 2 days and then you do the internship for 2 days. Yeah, it is quite challenging to combine both the academic work and then the internship work. But it comes with what, like I said, if you follow the time management strategies and blocking your time, it is not difficult to do at all. You just need to stretch yourself a little bit and then you can do that. But while at it, you should strike a convenient balance between the two. Don't overly focus on the studies and ignore the practical aspect of it. One, the internship would give you the opportunity to analytically apply whatever that you are learning in class to the ground, and that's like the first-hand experience that would maybe shape your path in the legal journey, because some of you may not have done internships during the undergraduate level, and once you prove yourself over there, it may even open the path for you to building your career in that particular firm. As you would know, the legal profession now is saturated in Accra, and most firms um, are not willing to take people now. And so, but if you go to the firm and you prove your worth, then you can be sure that if you are called to the bar, you may be offered a spot over there. So that's another thing that you should bear in mind. And then make sure that whatever work that you are giving, you do it diligently, applying critically the concepts that you have studied in class. And then also take opportunity to learn from your seniors. Um, like with the knowledge that you are acquiring fresh in the law school, there may always be the temptation to challenge maybe certain points that your seniors are trying to bring out. But you should know that they have been in the practice for maybe 7 to maybe 20 years and counting. And so even if there's a recent authority on the point, there's always a humble way of talking about it so that you don't sound arrogant and then you will not be seen as someone who is all knowing. You have to know how to massage um these things so that you find yourself in the good books of the firm that you are going to. Yeah. And then also make sure that the whatever work that they give you, you record it in the logbook. One thing that I did, which I regretted, was like in the part one when I did the internship, I wasn't recording it in the logbook. Like though I was keeping records. Now, when it was time for me to compile everything, it became extremely overbearing, and I found it challenging to do. Yeah, so make sure that you record that as well. And the internship is either court or the firm, so you can choose whichever one that you want to go to. But either ways, in the part one, you either do the firm, and then part two, you do the court, or vice versa. It just depends on um, whichever one you want to do first. But all of them would give you a great exposure. You just have to apply yourself. So in closing, I want to say that to successfully navigate both your time and the dual rules, it comes down to being rigorous and being able to uh, discipline yourself, applying all these strategies in an integrative manner to be sure that you are building a holistic lifestyle or professional career for yourself in the future. Now, multitasking on high value work or trying to do so many things at the same time without a proper plan would just be a myth. You need to break down your time into manageable blocks, and then allocate time for each task that you have. And then you can only allocate time for each task that you have if you have a clear vision of what you want to achieve at the end of the law school or at the end of your study in the law school. And I mean, the goal is not for you to be uh, it's not a perfect static balance, but the goal is to create a dynamic, integrated professional identity where your uh, professional experience would blend seamlessly with what your academic understandings or intellectual abilities. Now, the habits that you forge now will determine not only the lawyers that you become, but the kind of professional services and a professional that you'll be for the next 40 to 50 years. You can win the case against the clock, that is time management. You just need to be deliberate about it. And yeah, and I mean, just to end on a lighter note, if I say have a vision, it doesn't mean that you should go aiming to maybe win the Saba Awards or to win an award in a law school. There's this joke that we always crack that you don't go to the law school to win awards. You just go to be called to the bar. Any other thing that comes is an added advantage because you may be very disappointed at the end of the day if you work all your life aiming to win an award and then it comes and you don't win it. So what is really important is aiming to understand the law and passing through successfully. If the award comes, then good. If it doesn't come, you don't lose anything at the end of the day. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Counsel. We have really enjoyed our time with you. I must say that we are leaving here with a nugget that we must have a clear plan and vision of what we intend to do for the academic year while at law school. From your presentation, we have also learned to know the things that are important and the ones that are urgent. Thank you very much for your presentation this evening, Mr. Wana Ang. Now moving on to our second speaker. Please, the questions that are in the chat, respectfully, we'll take them one after the other, after the whole presentation, and then our speakers will gladly attend to them. So please have a good time and relax till the session is up for question and answers. Thank you. To our second speaker, he is also a lawyer, obviously. He is an old student of Prempeh College, class of 2016 to be precise. He is also from the KNUST Faculty of Law. He was called to the bar in 2021, and in 2023, he was also awarded the overall best performing student for the 2023 call to the bar. He is currently an LLM student at the University of Ghana. Respectfully, help me welcome lawyer Ebenezer Adai Osei. Senior, you're welcome. Thank you very much. And participants, enjoy your time with Mr. Adai. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I want you to first confirm if you are able to hear me because I'm using an earpiece. If not, I'll disable it and then use the normal speaker. Please, are you able to hear me?
Yes, please, we can hear you.
Thank you once again. And then thank you to the organizers and everyone. I noticed that we have the Deputy Attorney General anonymous. Thank you, sir, for gracing this occasion. And thank you, everyone, for making time to join this. Just like you rightly said, my task here is to mainly assist in how to get out of law. Some of the things or the steps that you may have to take before you enter, as well as some of the steps that you may take whilst in law school before you graduate. And so, okay, I think let me.
Council, we can't hear you.
Yes. Is it clear now?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. So this evening, I'll start by saying that I'm a realist before any other thing else. I mean, as far as the law is concerned. The main reason is I look at what is much more practical before I really consider what is in theory. And so this evening, throughout my presentation, I'll use myself as a case study. I've been given three main things to present on. The first one is the psychology of studies, that is the mindset and the attitude. The second one being the role of IT in studies, that is the use of online platforms for studies, including issues of AI, etc. And then the last one being financial management. So I'll start with the first theme, which is the psychology of studies, that is the mindset and attitude. I should think that all of us have been through the LLB program, and we can all attest to how challenging and how stressful the program was. Now, law school adds another stress to the ones that we went through during the LLB days. In the sense that in law school, you have the end of year semester, the end of year exam as in contradistinction with the end of semester exam. And so in law school, you write the papers for each of the courses at the end of the year. And so that means that before you sit for the paper, you may have to probably study at least, in some courses, about 20 topics or so before you write a paper. Now, you may be able to successfully go through all of these, just like my brother once said, by being disciplined and then having an effective time management. And so personally, when I was in law school, I was using what I call the 3-hour block period. When I say the 3-hour block period, I mean every day I used to study 3 times in a day. And so in a day, we all know we have 24 hours. And each of my blocks, that is each of my 3 blocks, was 4 hours. So it means that in a day, I'm going to study for 12 hours. So I have a timetable where my first block normally begins from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. And then my second block would be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then my third block would probably be from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. So with this, I know that in each day, I can study 3 times. If in part 1, I'm having 7 courses, I take 3 out of it in a day, it means I'm left with 4. So the next 4, the next 3 will go to the following day. And then the other one, I'll find ways to alternate it as and when I move along. And so before normally you sleep every night or every evening, you plan the day ahead. So probably tomorrow you are going to study civil procedure. Now with civil procedure, you may have to select which of the topics that you would want to cover within your 4-hour block. That is, if supposing you have civil procedure between 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. You do that for the 3 courses, and then you repeat it for all the courses for the week. Now, you'd realize that if you continue repeating all these 3 block period, in latest by 1 month, 2 weeks, or 1 month, in my case, was my first trial was, I think, 1 month, 3 weeks. In 1 month, 3 weeks, you realize that you'll be done with the syllabus. Then you repeat it again and again and again. So before you'll be given, let's say, 2 weeks for revision, you would have read over the syllabus for at least 5 times or 4 times. Yes, 4 or 5 times. You would have gone through the syllabus for each of the courses about 4 times, which means that you are good to go when it comes to exam. Now, with the 4-hour period block, it means that if I am studying from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m., I have from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. as my free time. So within that time, I may decide to sleep, or I may decide to, if I have 1 or 2 things to do, which is non-academic, I focus on that. If I may have to respond to messages, texts, or whatever, I balance it in between the intermittent breaks that I have after I'm done with each block. Now, there is one thing that is also quite useful at the law school, which is joining study groups. Throughout my academic journey, it was only in law school that I really appreciated the importance of proper and active and accountable study groups. In my case, I had one study group, and then I think we were not up to 6 people, and then I have another study group where I think in that case we were, I think, about 10. So my personal strategy was that with the one that we were not up to 6, people will say the sharks. So when you go, it's much more of stretching the law, trying to argue, doing much more things. I'm doing things in a rush manner. And then the other study group that I had, it was where I would take my time to take everyone through the various topics under each of the various courses, because I realized that the more you teach, the more you get to understand, and the more you have the law at your fingertips. And so my advice to you is that in an attempt to join a study group, join one that you would have everyone being serious and then being accountable, not necessarily being brilliant, because you may be brilliant, but if you're not, accountable to yourself as well as your group members, at the end of the day, you may not get anything effective out of that particular group. And so personally, that was my approach. Now, in terms of preparing for exams too, for example, my take has always been that there is a vast difference between studying, reading, and then preparing for an exam. There is a difference between reading and learning, actually. You can read a 30-page document in, let's say, 20 minutes and you are done. But at the end of the day, if you are asked anything out of it, you are unable to say, or you are unable to recall, not even understand. But when it is time for you to study, that is when you pay much attention to details, the choice of words used by the lawmaker, or the choice of words used by the writer or the author. But when it comes to preparing for exam, it's also different, because you are given 3 hours to present everything you know on a particular topic or a range of topics. And so you should be able to also prepare, especially when it comes to grabbing or recalling the name of cases, statute, the various sections, subsections, and everything. So you need to have a plan and know how you prepare for exam, and then know how you study as well. On that note, I'll briefly move on to the next theme, which is the role of IT when it comes to studies. I note that currently, because of issues of AI, people are quick to impute or key in everything that they want to find on platforms like Google Chat and all those online platforms. Yes, they may give you quick results, but the problem is that most of these AI robots, they are not human beings, and certainly they were built by people who are based in a particular legal system. Let's say if the one who built, let's say currently we are fortunate we have AIs like Kwame AI being built by a Ghanaian lawyer. So probably if you are using that platform, you are quite certain that at least the result you are earning or you are getting from there is likely to be 60 to 80% accurate. Do not be quick to rely on anything you find when you are conducting legal research through the AI systems. It's always very important that you go back to the very legislation that the AI is referring you to and check whether the reference that has been made is even accurate and support. I mean, the statute itself expressly states it or couch it in that manner. And so my take is that it's mostly dangerous to exclusively rely on anything you find on the internet or through your legal research through the AI systems. You should always strive to get a law finder. I use Dennis Law a lot. At least Judy, I have my doubts with Judy sometimes, but I'm in Judy League. I have my doubts sometimes, but the one that I've always trusted is Dennis Law because I get the opportunity to read the full text of the law, and then also I have the law reports as well. So I just go back to verify if it is indeed reported in that particular law report. But then do not be quick to rely exclusively on anything that you find on the internet, especially through your legal research. And when it comes to studies, I remember in law school, you'd realize that most of the courses requires you to draft. And so for me, I used to make all my notes using my laptop. I don't ever recall writing, in physical form, any notes, except when I was preparing for my drafts or when I was learning how to draft. Aside the drafting, which I used to do physically, everything that I was doing was compiling my notes, everything through the MS Word. So yes, in as much as you want to effectively manage your time, you should also learn how to incorporate some of these technological tools to help you, speed up a lot of things because you don't have all the time, especially when you are working as well. In my case, I wasn't working, and so I had all the time that I needed. The last thing I am to speak to you about is financial management. I've always maintained that when it comes to managing finances at the law school, each and every one, depending on your circumstance, based on your circumstance, would help you know how to effectively manage your resources. But if there is one thing I'll always urge you to do is to always invest in your legal resources. When I say your legal resources, if there are textbooks you are supposed to purchase, if there are legislation that you are supposed to buy, try as much as you can to purchase them. Aside that, I think you are the best person to effectively manage your finances, mainly because some people are working. Some of us, during my time at the law school, I wasn't working, and so I used to depend on allowances from my parents. And so how I would manage my finance would certainly be different from someone who is working, who is also going to manage his or her finances. And so, but that notwithstanding, what I would urge you to do is any legal resource or in a form of text, that is legislations, textbooks, anything that will help aid you study. even if it involves investing in devices, probably you may have to get a spare laptop or a spare phone or whatever to help you read. I think it's much more important that you rather invest in that rather than spending time on anything that in your view and within your circumstance, you may determine that it is unnecessary. So briefly, I think this is what I would be able to say briefly concerning all that, I mean, the topics I was asked to present. Now, before ending my delivery, I would want to say that law school is very stressful. We can all attest to that. At least, even if you've not been to the law school, you probably might have, just as I said, completed or graduated from a particular university and you have an LLB. And so just as LLB was stressful, equally law school will be twice or three times as much stressful than what you went through during the LLB days. I remember my friend was saying that he used to sleep 4 hours sometimes in a day. In my case, when I was in part 2, I remember when I was in part 2 for the whole year, I used to sleep 2 hours in a day. And I saw someone also ask whether that affected my health. Certainly, it will affect you in a way, but if you really know that, or if you really know what you want to achieve within the 2-year period, especially when you want to quickly get out of the law school and end all those wahala, anything that you would have to sacrifice in order to get out of the law school, you would certainly do it. You have to do it. It's for your own mental, state. No one could afford to stay, or no one, it is never the intention of anyone to stay at the law school for 3 years or 4 years. So anything that you may have to risk or give up in order to get out of it, I think you would have to do it. Again, no one, in my view, ever begins the legal journey, especially at the law school, with a mindset that I am going there to win a particular award. You will never know until the day of the call. And so, just as my brother Riley said, it will be disappointing to find that in your case, you've set that as a goal, that you are going there specifically to win an award. And at the end of the day, you don't win any award at all. I would not urge you to have that mentality. Just strive to pass and then get called first. Anything else should be a bonus. And that is all that I think I can say concerning that. So unless there are questions which I'll be waiting for to answer, I think this is where I'll end my presentation. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Osei. We have really enjoyed your time. And I must say that you just mentioned that you are realistic, and through your submissions, we can tell that you are very realistic. You have shared practical tips with us on how to survive in the law school. Myself, I didn't even pay attention to the differences between studying, reading, and preparing for exams. But I believe you have highlighted it well enough, and we have all been able to connect to it as students. Thank you very much, Mr. Osei, once again. Now, moving on to our last speaker for today, who is currently the MCSark awardee. I would welcome Miss Latifa Teya Husseini. She is a student of the Achimota School, particularly class of 2019. And I'm proud to say she's also a product of KNUST Faculty of Law. And as you already know, she did not just win the MCSark Award, she was also the best student in conveyancing and drafting. Now, Miss Latifa, respectfully and gladly, I hand over the microphone to you to take us through your presentation for tonight's section. Thank you very much.
Very well, Esther. Please, respectfully, I think our speaker Latifa is in the waiting room because we've exceeded our meeting participation limit. So she just left. She just told me she was leaving for something. So please, those who are requesting to join, please hold on. We want to admit our speaker before we admit everyone. Or if someone or some of you can just leave to join the stream on YouTube, because we can't admit our speaker right now because I'm even confused. Or someone can respectfully, because she keeps on texting me on WhatsApp that she's been here for like 20 minutes in the waiting room. So if you have any good Samaritan who can sacrifice, thank you.
I'm sacrificing.
As we wait, please, have we been able to get our last speaker joining us?
No, I'm admitting her. I can't find her name. Those
Okay.
in the waiting room are so many. I don't know why.
Okay. Please, participants, we will humbly appeal with you to exercise as we get our last speaker for tonight's on. Thank you very much for being cooperative. Hello, everyone. I believe that we are still trying to get our speaker on. And so I'll use this opportunity to briefly talk about the Law Platform. So the Law Platform is an online study group, study platform, and I believe through this avenue, we have been able to benefit so much this evening. So just to highlight some of the advantages that comes with being a part of this online study group platforms. The very ultimate of it all is that it's a collaborative learning platform. So as it brings a lot of people on board. We are able to share knowledge, probably explain difficult concepts of the law, and we are also able to help each other to understand some
Okay, thank
aspects of
you.
the law.
Thank you,
Please,
Esther.
do we have it here?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think after so many attempts, I've finally admitted her now. So,
Okay.
wow.
Okay. Thank you very much. Miss Latifa, I'm so humbled to have you joining us finally. And out of the excitement, I'll take this opportunity to reintroduce you again. Yeah. So, our last speaker is in the person of Miss Latifa Teya Fuseni. She is a lawyer and she is a student. She was a student, sorry, of the Achimota School, particularly the class of 2019. She is also a product of the KNUST Faculty of Law, which I am proud to emphasize again. And she is the MCSark awardee for this year's Call to the Bar 2025. She did not only win the MCSark Award prize, she was also adjudged the best student in conveyancing and drafting. Miss Latifa, you're welcome. With grateful hearts and the privilege that I've been given tonight, I hand over the microphone to you as you take us through your presentation. Thank you very much, and
Thank
you're
you for
welcome.
the introduction. Thank you so much. Am I audible? Hello, can you hear
Please,
me?
your lines are not so clear. Can you check it for us?
Hmm. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yes,
Just a
please.
little bit louder.
Okay, okay. Is this better?
I think it's better, but please be a little louder.
Okay, sorry. I had a last minute event, so my network is not so good. Hold on. Hi, is this better?
Yes, please. This is very better.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much. Warm regards to all the speakers and warm regards to the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Justice Remsai. I'm going to be very brief, honestly. I'm going to be speaking on steady strategies. Sorry, 1 second. Yeah, so my topic for today is steady strategies. I've had so many messages, so many questions since last week, Friday. Everybody wants to know what I did differently. Everybody wants to know what the formula or the secret is. So today I'm going to be sharing some of the things that I think would make a difference. And yes, that I think that every student should be, actively pursuing. I'm going to start with something that seems very basic and simple, but I think it's really the best thing you can do for yourself, or it's just really the base of it all, which is spending time doing the work. I cannot stress this enough. Martin already he spoke a little bit about consistency, and it's really, really important. You have to spend time doing the work. There's really no secret, there's no formula, there's no magic. It's just about consistency and discipline. You need to put in the work. You need to spend a lot of time studying. Most of the time, it becomes repetitive, it becomes boring and tiring. But you just need to do it. You need to discipline yourself and do it. It will take so much of your life because it's days and weeks and months of studying. Do you understand? So, and especially for those of the students that have busy lives, some have kids, others have jobs. It takes a lot. So for those that don't, I would really advise you to put in a lot of time. Nothing comes easy. Be consistent, be disciplined. Remember why you started. For me, my honestly was just not to repeat or rewrite it, make my parents proud. So remember why you started. Let it drive you, let it move you. Keep going at it. Spend time doing the work. Spend weeks, spend days, sit down, just do the work. I remember Justice Asiedu once, he was advising us once, and he said, just sit in where if it's your room, wherever you study, just sit down and do the work. And it really stayed with me because it's really so true. A lot of people just like to walk around, do a lot of things. It's really just sitting down to do the work. And I think that is very, very important. I don't want to stay too much on that. The next point I'll be talking about is have a conducive environment. I think having a conducive environment, that's a lot for you mentally. So whenever you go to that place, you know that you're just going to study, like you lock in, and then it's just really that at that particular point. Know yourself, have a conducive environment. For me, my conducive environment was my bedroom. I had my desk and all my study materials and everything I needed in my bedroom. So I know a lot of people say their beds are in their bedroom, they can't study there, so they go to libraries, they go to other places. But no what works for you. Figure that out and just do what you have to do. So whenever I go to my desk, I know I mean business. I put my phone away and then I just do what I have to do. And I spend a lot of time. I spend all day. I'll just probably take a food break or a little time to rest, but I spend all day doing it. So have a conducive environment. Pick what works for you. I do not want to be driving for studying. I wanted a place that was easily accessible to me. So I didn't want to be driving to libraries and all that to study. So I made my room my conducive environment. Do you get it? So I think just find yourself a conducive environment and make it work for you. I'll also talk about having serious people around you and a steady group. I can't tell you guys how my friends and then my study group, how it contributed to me like passing my exams. Honestly, it was really the best thing in law school for me, having serious friends. So I had a lot of friends in different campuses, and I also had a study group. We used to study a lot together. And not just that, we used to even study online together. We used to ask each other questions, especially when it was getting to exams. Not even just my study group, but my other friends. So I had a lot of friends we would ask each other questions. You just be studying, and then somebody would just send you like a 10-line question. How would you go about this? Then you have to, give an answer plan, give all your points and everything. Have serious people around you, your friends, and also like people in other campuses, because your friends are exposed to other different things. And the way law school is set up, the volume of things you need to know is really a lot. It's a lot for a lot of courses. It's really, really a lot. And then the questions, other people in other campuses are exposed to different questions, right? So you need to talk to people. You have to get people sending you different materials. Do you get this? Just so that you can also be exposed. Do you get it? You need more information. So talk to people, have serious friends, have people who are focused. And that's what really worked wonders for me in law school, having friends who were very, very serious. We used to have study sessions, online study sessions. When it's exams, we are all just sending each other questions, explaining things to each other, things like that. So that really, really helps. I will also talk about solving past questions. I think you'll be doing yourself a big disservice if you're in law school and you don't solve past questions. It's very, very important. They are actually repeated, and sometimes they just, change the wording and things like that. So solve past questions. I remember when I was buying my past questions book, it was about 600 CDs, and I was like, oh God, I'm spending all this money. But you invest, and then all the books too, you invest in it, and then it's very important. So buy your past questions book, solve past questions. For interpretation questions, for example, if you don't solve past questions, I really don't know, because you can study your principles, your cases, and all that, and then when you pick a question when you look at a question, there's a big disconnect, honestly. You don't even know if it relates to what you just studied. So solve past questions. You really, really helps. Solve past questions. You can solve with other people. It's very, very important. Also, I'll talk about briefing cases. Briefing cases is very sorry. Yeah, so briefing case, what I did was during the, when we are just going for classes, when we reopen and we are going for classes, I start studying and briefing my cases. So that when it's exams time, it's not now that I'm now coming to look at all the cases for this topic and sit down and look at it, because it really helps. Sometimes the facts that they bring, the fact pattern, and then everything that you bring in the exam is based off a case. Do you get it? So if you don't know the case, you'd have to just apply, do something on your own. If you know the case, it really helps you, gives you the direction, it lets you know the direction you should go in. Do you get it? So read brief cases, start early in the semester when you're making your notes. Brief cases, look at the facts, the holding, and then the reasoning, and also the dissenting opinions. There are so many numerous times where a question would come and then it even requires you to discuss the dissenting opinion, because maybe that is what has become more acceptable in modern times. Did you get it? I remember there was an interpretation question like that in the past questions. They actually require you to discuss the dissenting opinion, because it was a dissenting opinion of Lord Denning, and that has become acceptable in modern times. So solve past questions, brief cases, look at the facts, because the facts, if in exam, they can just replicate the facts. Did you get it? And then look at the holding that will inform your application of the law, and then everything, the reasoning, and also the dissenting opinions. Don't just put that aside sometimes. Also make notes, make your notes, start early, write your own notes, take the topics one by one, read them, read from different sources. I read from a lot of different sources, not just one textbook, other textbook, there are online materials, there are short notes by Konki, by Selfie. Read, pick, because all of them have important things. I can't even stress it enough. Pick and choose. Look at all of them, make your notes, break it down into understandable bits for yourself, brief your cases into your notes. It really helps you, because it's great for revision. When it's getting to exams, you know, now that you are starting and all that, make your notes. It's really, really important. I'll also talk about revising and reviewing. Honestly, it really takes revising. I can't even stress it enough. It's very important to revise. The more you read it, the more you understand. You get it? So revise, start early. I remember there was a question that my friend sent to me some time ago, and the area of law, it looked like there were two different areas of law, but I had read a textbook where they had broken that, they had discussed that case. So it was based off a case, and then they had discussed that case in the textbook under a particular topic. So it was about that topic. But if you don't take care, you would mistake it for another topic. I don't know if I'm making sense at all, but yes, it's about reading. If I didn't, I had read that textbook so many times, revised it so many times. So as soon as she sent me the facts of the question that she had, I knew immediately that this is under this topic. Do you get it? So it's really just about doing it so many times, consistency. There's really no secret, there's no magic. Just do it so many times. I would also talk about taking advantage of study. That's not to say don't have a social life. I have a very active social life, but just prioritize and know when to do certain things. For example, when I'm driving, I usually listen to recordings during school. Maybe I'll take Justice Chiba for a recording on interpretation, then I'll just play it, and then I'll be driving. And that really helps. I know a lot of people underestimate those things. Maybe they think that they will not be focused or things like that. But it really helps when you're driving, and then you just you are listening. It actually really helped me a lot. Or even I used to pack my books to internship. I remember firm internship. It was they used to give us work, but sometimes we had a lot of free time too. And I know a lot of people do. So take advantage of every opportunity. I used to take my books there. When we are free, I'll just be studying instead of maybe just walking about and doing my own thing. I'll just be studying. I'll be making my notes and studying. When you are driving, you can play a recording, or you can call a friend, discuss something. Just take advantage of every opportunity you have to just study. Do you get it? Yes. So so basically that is what I have to say for today. Just be consistent, be disciplined, have your driving force. If it is to not repeat or to not fill a paper, which was mine, if it's to make your parents proud, if it's to make yourself proud, just have your driving force and just be disciplined about. So thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Miss Latifa.
Thank you so much, Miss Latifa.
We have enjoyed your session. We
Indeed.
have learned to do the work, to have a conducive environment, and also to have serious
Yes.
friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so, so much. So at this point, I would gladly hand over to my co-host, Miss Isabella, to lead us through the question and answer time. Miss Isabella,
Yeah. Miss Esther,
please,
I'm here.
you can take it from here. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, sure. You're welcome. Indeed, be consistent and always remember why you started and spend time doing the work. I really loved that part. Okay. Please, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. We are honored to have on board the Deputy Attorney General and Deputy Minister of Justice for the Republic of Ghana, Honorable Justice Ramsai. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. We really do appreciate it. Thank you to all our speakers for that fascinating discussions on time management, academic life, the psychology of studies, finances, and then study strategies. Please, we do have 15 minutes for question and answers. Please, let's keep the questions concise and straight to the point so that we can get as many audience members as possible. If your question is for a specific speaker, please address them by the name, so that we can take as many questions today as possible. Now the floor is opened for questions. So please, let's have your questions.
Good evening, Miss Latifa. My question is just simple. Please, did you join any private classes?
Miss Latifa.
Sorry, did you ask if I joined any private classes? Was that the question? It was breaking.
Yes.
That's what I'm asking.
Yes, Miss.
Okay, so for me, when I started part one, I did join classes for accounting because accounting was a challenge. So I joined classes for accounting, and it really helped me with the basics. I really grasped the basics based of the classes. But along the line, I stopped, and then I was using FOG and then the manual and things like that. And it really also worked for me. So I think just know yourself. If you're a person who needs extra attention, you can join these classes and everything. But I feel like the courses, the way they are set up, you can learn them by yourself. I don't know, I can't speak for everyone, but I think you can learn them by yourself. So yes, I did. The only classes I joined was accounting, but I stopped eventually to focus and then really try to grasp the thing by myself. So yes, that is the answer.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, please, can we have our next question?
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, so I think in yourself you made reference
If
to
if if I
being
may, with all due respect, if I may, I think whilst making my presentation, there was a question addressed to me in the chat section, and I think if I do recall, I had two main questions. The first one was how did I implement in short, how did I implement my 12-hour study block? Can you hear me?
Yes, please, you can hear you.
yeah,
Okay. So the 12-hour study block, I learned it from a medical student. And this is how it works. Like I said, we have 24 hours in a day. Hello? Yeah, so the 12-hour period, this is how it works. Now we have 24 hours in a day. I, I have to study 3 times in a day. And so the plan is to study 4 hours for each block. Now, 4 hours by 3 is 12 hours. So it means that in each day, I have dedicated 12 hours of my time to study and 12 other hours within the same day for any other thing that I may want to do, including sleeping or whatever I may want to do. So to be much more practical, you know that studying at dawn is really effective. And so my first block was from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. That's my first block. And then my second block, because in the mornings, probably I'll have to do one or two things. My second block starts from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And then again, my third block begins from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. in the evening. So you would realize that after my first block, I have from 5 a.m. up until 10 a.m., which is 5 hours, to do whatever I may want to do. If I want to take a quick nap, or if I want to do some washing, or if I want to go get this, I may do that within the 5 hours, including responding to texts. And if I want to do something in the afternoon, after I'm done with my second block, that is 2 p.m. From 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. is 4 hours, which is enough time for you to quickly do whatever you may want to do. Mind you, as and when you are implementing your 4-hour block, because you know you are going to study for a continuous period of 4 hours, before you sit behind your desk, you get everything that you may conveniently need while sitting for the continuous 4-hour period. And so if you need a snack, you get it. You certainly need water, you get it. You certainly will need a pen, or you will need sheets that you'll be writing on or whatever. They are all gathered beside you whilst you are sitting. And so whilst you are sitting as well, you do away completely with your phone. Probably your phone should be in the wardrobe or somewhere far from where you are studying, so that it should be completely more or less you should feel lazy getting up to get in touch with your phone, because within that period you need to, as much as possible, block every bit of distraction that you may find yourself involved. Now, when you sit for the 4-hour block, before you sit, you've already planned, just as I said, the night before, you've arranged what you want to read within that particular 4-hour block for a particular course. And so, say civil procedure, you want to read on amendments, you probably want to read on third party notices, or you may want to read on probate and administration. You have already demarcated which sections or which portions of the relevant books that you are going to read from. And so your mind is fully set up, fully um, uh, prepared in absorbing or reading those particular contents within that book. And once you are able to block, access to social media and those things, probably within that 4 hours, you would attest that you would be able to conveniently read the material that you want to read, and you will be able to finish. Because if you think you need water, you have it right beside you. If you think you are hungry, you need a bit of a snack, you can get it right whilst you stretch your hand. So you don't give yourself reasons to be getting up as and when ordinarily you get up. Now, in the course of studying, there is something that may come to mind which you probably have to do. With all those ones, you have more or less like a sticky note or a separate sheet of paper that you list those tasks down. You list those things down that when I get up, this is what I'll do. When I get up, this is what I'll do. So you list them up so that immediately you are done with your block. Within the space or the break, which is either 5 hours or 4 hours break that you have, you can conveniently and effectively also achieve the outcome of what you've written down by achieving. So that you don't, within that 12-hour period, get distracted or get interrupted whilst you are studying. So that's basically about the 4-hour study block. And I saw a further question that what if you are working? I should think that in my case, I was able to do 3 blocks in a day because I was not working. I may not know the nature of what you are doing, but regardless of whatever you are doing, you may want to implement it in 2 blocks. I went for 4 hours. Probably you may adjust it to 2 or 3 hours. The most important thing is you are able to be consistent with repeating what you have decided to do. So that if you decide to go for a 3-hour study block period, you can still do it. You may just have to be much more consistent than I used to, because in my case, I was doing 4 hours. Or if you think it is 2 hours that you may be able to, you go by the 2 hours. Just be consistent with whatever you are doing. Now, with that being said, I also saw a question about me sleeping 2 hours in a day. So my sleep was not a continuous 2 hours sleep. So I know that in the evenings, for me, I'm unable to sleep. And so if I'm going to sleep in the evening, certainly it will be probably like 30 minutes. So 30 minutes is gone. During the day, certainly you'll be a bit tired. I sleep 1 hour, 30 minutes. And for me, that was enough for me. Maybe for you, you may have health reasons or whatever reasons. And so you may want to make adjustments. But like I said, being much more practical will help you be able to implement whether you may want to go with a 4-hour study block period or you probably want to do a 3-hour study block period. However, you may want to do it. Mine is to serve as a guide, not to impose on you what you need to do, but it's supposed to help serve as a guide in helping you to achieve what you want to achieve.
Yeah, hello. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, so by way of follow-up, so the 3-hour block study period, is it that you are studying a particular subject within the day, or per each block you are studying a different subject?
Yeah, so thank you. Each block is for a different course. Each block is for a different course. For me, I get very bored reading a particular course continuously throughout the day. And so for me, each block was for a different course, so that I know that in the end, at the end of the day, I'm able to read a bit of if evidence, or if I'm doing civil procedure, I've read a bit of civil procedure, and I've equally read a bit of criminal procedure or probably interpretation. So for me, each block should be for a different course. And before you sit for a block the day before, you should decide which topics within that course that you want to read. So that if today in evidence you've read burden of proof and means of proof, if in the next 2 days you have evidence, you probably have to read on privileges or witnesses, so that you realize that by the end of a particular block within a week, if let's say you've read evidence for 3 times, you realize that you might have probably read about 8 or 7 topics in evidence for the week. And once you are able to repeat it for a period of 5 weeks, you realize that you are done with the syllabus. And you repeat it over again, you will be done again with the syllabus for each of the courses. And so that was the plan.
Please, are we still on?
Yes, I'm done. So I'm probably waiting for a next question. I think someone also asked whether an LLB regular student will be able to implement this. Yes, basically I think so. You just have to know as and when you have lectures, when you don't have lectures, so that you probably decide when you want to fix your individual block periods. And as I said, certainly the days you have lectures, you may not be able to implement the 12-hour period. Like I said earlier on, I'm a realist before any other thing else, when as much as the law is concerned. And so on days that you have lectures, certainly you'll be tired from lectures and you will not be able to study effectively for 12 hours. Certainly that is not practical. But aside your lecture periods, the days you do not have lectures, for example, during my time in law school, it was 2 days lecture periods, and then we had the 3 days within the week. Now I note that it's 2 days lectures, 2 days internships. So it means that you have 3 days in the week to yourself, which in my view, you can implement the 3 hour study block period. But on the days you do not have, on the days you have lectures, certainly you may not. Probably you may be able to do one block. But the days of your internship, depending on whether you are in the courts room or whether you were placed at a firm or a legal department, depending on the time that you may close, I think you may be able to implement at least a block period on those days. So I think that's, in my view, enough information on the study block periods.
Thank you very much, Council.
So,
Thank you very much.
Hello, Miss Isabella. I think looking at our time, we are almost exhausting the duration for this meeting. So if we can quickly call it a night for that session.
Yeah, Esther, please, can you hear me? Oh my gosh.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. So please, we are ending today's session. And I know you've learned something today. We want to thank all our distinguished speakers for their insights today. I know many of you here are already in law school or about to start, or even considering how to survive your next exam season. We all know law school is not easy at all. It takes people who are courageous, smart, and brave like you to take that bold step to pursue law. Law school is demanding, stressful, and intense. And you don't have to do this alone. That's why the law room was created. We help you maneuver your way through law school with ease and come out successful. For the past 5 years, the law school has been a solid system that has been supporting law students through every stage of their journey. And we are so proud to say that 95% of our students passed their law school exams, not by luck, but because we focus on delivering real support system, not just lectures. At the law room, you are not just another student in a virtual classroom. You are part of a solid community. So be proud that you are here. One that understands the academic pressure, emotional and mental stress that law school brings. We are here to help with all that. Our team is made up of exceptional and experienced legal educators and teachers, people who know the law and how to teach it in a way that's easy for you to comprehend. We offer flexible class schedules that work around your life, secure online learning, and even one-on-one tutoring and mentorship, depending on what you need. Whether it's preparing for a tough exams, breaking down difficult topics, or just having someone to talk to who gets it, the law room is here for you all. And the best part is it is affordable and easy to sign up. And honestly, it works, just as you've all witnessed. If you are looking for a safe space where you'll be guided properly, supported emotionally, and treated like you are family, the law room has got you. And please, we will be dropping our link to our WhatsApp page in the chat. Feel free to reach out, ask questions, or find out how to join. No pressure at all. Once again, I want to thank you all for joining today's seminar. I know you are blessed. And always remember that you don't have to do this alone. The law room has got you. Always put this at the back of your mind. You are smart, you are brave, and you are courageous. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss
Thank you.
Isabella.
Thank you. God bless
Thank
you.
you so much.
Madam
So
Latifa,
before
my
you leave, we will quickly take a closing prayer. We began with God, so we have to end with God. So kindly,
Hello.
Council,
yes.
I have a question at the chat box, but it has not been answered.
You
Please
have a
join the law
question.
room. You'll be answered.
For the sake of our time,
Okay.
please, we would appreciate if you join the law platform, the law
All right.
room platform, so
Thank
that
you
we
very much.
address it there for you. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Yes, please, can we have Dr. Mwako give us the closing prayer? Dr. Mwako, respectfully, kindly give us the closing prayer. Dr. Mwako, please, can you hear me?
Esther, excuse me, Esther. Please, can I be heard?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so before the closing prayer, we would like to thank the Justice Sam for agreeing to join us today. He decided not to speak intentionally, so it was not an intention, something for not allowing him to speak. He decided not to speak today, so that's the reason why I've seen the question that won't he speak, won't he speak? He says he's not going to talk today. Thank you.
Okay, very much noted. So to you all who put in that question, I believe you have been answered. Thank you very much once again there for making it. Please, is Dr. Mwako with us? Oh, I think he's not hearing us. So if we can have anyone volunteer to give us a closing prayer so that we end our meeting?
All right, can we pray?
Yes, please, we can.
All right. So, Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for a time like this where you gathered all of us to join the law room for this evening's Zoom session.
Can you
We
see?
are grateful, Lord, for Martin and Latifa, as well as all the facilitators. Father, when we continue to commit our lives into your hands, O Lord, use us mightily. Teach us the law. Let us, O Lord, come out to be the best lawyers that this country has ever known. You know, Father God, this is possible. You know, Father God, this is your will. You know, Father God, this is beautiful in your sense. Thank you, Lord, for the Attorney General who was his support. Father God, bless and bless the entire government. We give you all the praise, glory, and adoration in Jesus' name. With thanksgiving. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much to our
Amen.
speakers, to
Amen.
everyone for participating. We hope to have you join the next session. Thank you all and have a very good evening. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.